Hello, everybody. Welcome back to All Nighter Discussions. Today I'm joined by Alec White and Lucio Vasquez. How are you guys doing?
I'm all
I'm
right.
doing good.
Is that true? Is that really true? Because, Lucio, I know you just watched the movie we're going to be talking about. So are you really good?
I mean, yeah, honestly, I feel like I've never been better given the situation and given the fact that I just watched probably one of the best movies ever made. Yeah, I think I've peaked.
Yeah. And
I
he's not
mean,
talking about Citizen Kane, ladies and gentlemen. So last time on the podcast, we talked about Creep, which is a critically acclaimed psychological thriller, superb acting, great screenplay, and none of these words apply to the film we're going to be discussing today. We're going to be talking about The Mutilator, the 1984, I believe, cult classic, heavy emphasis on the word cult. I had seen it before, but I don't believe you two gentlemen had.
I'd never even heard of
Yeah,
it before
Yeah,
watching
me
it.
exactly,
either.
exactly. So, for those of you who don't know, The Mutilator is a story about a young man who, as a child, accidentally killed his mother. That's the first scene of the movie, so not a spoiler.
Mhm.
And his father, who's kind of a hunting freak, is driven insane by this. So he plots a trap to lure his son, and his son's friends over to this beach house.
Like
Where
20 years later, though. Like,
Yeah.
20 years later, took a while, but he finally got
yeah,
around to that revenge thing. And from there, you have a series of some of the most awkwardly executed murders I've seen on film.
yeah,
So, yeah,
That's downplaying it, yeah.
yes, yes. And between that, you have some of the most awkward acting on film. Just,
What are you talking about, Gabe? I mean, come on. You can't tell me that Ralph and Sue didn't have the same chemistry as Jack and Rose in the Titanic.
actually, I
uh,
like them probably more than Jack and Rose, but that's more of a taste thing.
Well,
Yeah,
you
yes.
know,
Screw you,
yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I noticed in the first, or I guess suppose the second scene. Wait, are we going to spoilers or no?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay,
So
okay.
first, let's just get through general thoughts because
Gotcha.
obviously I'm a big fan of these types of movies. So I was very familiar with how this film was going to go.
Mhm.
Like, no surprises for me. Well, some, but I was just surprised at how far it went in its tropes. But you guys, not really
Yeah.
being slasher fans, what was your experience like watching this?
Well, I'd say, I don't particularly watch a lot of these kinds of movies, although I am aware of the tropes. I feel like they're pretty well known.
By this point, yeah.
Yeah, so like, the virgin that always survives, blah blah blah, stuff like that. So, like you said, there's some things that I was expecting, other things I did not expect, that I'd love to get into because uh, overall, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would going to, and I also disliked it more than I thought I was going to.
You disliked it more than you thought you would.
It
Is that what
was
you said?
yeah, it was I feel I liked it but I hated it at the same time.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. All right. Alec, what about you? Can you top that? Can you top that
I gotta
opinion?
say, honestly, for the first 30 minutes, I thought I was watching the wrong movie. Uh, because they do that whole fake out title, whatever it was called. It was like summer vacation,
It
and
was
they had
a
a little
fall break, yeah.
fall break, and
Yeah.
it's like,
So
yeah, we're going on a
And
fall
I was like, what
break.
the fuck?
there's an interesting story behind that, which, real quick, this movie was called Fall Break during its, I think, up to its theater release, but for the video release, they decided to call it The Mutilator because no
That makes
one
sense.
wants to watch a film called Spring Break.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, I enjoyed the movie. Like it was a fun little slasher film. Um, I definitely have a lot of questions that were never answered,
Mhm.
and a lot of logistical things that I just want. I want to talk to the director. I want to see what he was thinking. Um, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It was kind of like one of those silly slasher movies where you watch it and you're like, "Get out of the house," and then the dumb guy's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go in the house."
Yeah. So there's really a lot to unpack here. but I think we should start from the beginning. Now, I think the movie opens with a pretty effective scene. Like, what did you guys think about that opening?
Alec?
I was not expecting him to. Okay, so the beginning of the movie, it's this little kid's dad's birthday, and for his birthday, the mom's baking him a cake. The kid is gonna clean the guns for his dad's birthday, so he writes him a little note, and he's like, "I did this, Dad," and he sticks it on the gun rack, and he starts cleaning the gun, which misfires and kills his mother. I was not expecting.
I wouldn't say misfires. He literally aims it and fires it.
He pulls the trigger
psychopathic little
purposely.
kid playing with dad's guns, didn't even check to see if it was loaded, murders his mom. A real Oedipus complex there, but I was not expecting that. It drew me into the movie because I was like, oh Jesus Christ, this was the first scene of the movie. What's the rest of this movie gonna be
Arguably
like?
the best scene, actually.
Yeah,
I would argue that. I would also argue that tonally it is so detached from the movie that follows. It's so dark, and
Like,
yeah.
There's one specific murder later in the movie that really, like, as I was watching, I was like, oh my God.
I know
We'll get to that
exactly
later.
one. Yeah. But the scene though, again, like it is tonally so different from the movie, but also it fits in so well because the father comes in. It doesn't say anything. The acting is so awkward in the scene. He kind of like everyone's just kind of slowly like meandering around the room after like the dad sees his murdered wife on the floor and just like does like a pathetic shove towards the son, and then he's just kind of like walking slowly towards his son, grabs the gun. And it's just
Mhm.
like it's so weird to watch because it's like, your wife was just murdered. You'd think maybe you'd have more of a reaction. You would say something. But you're just like, ugh, and you just shove him away and then
I
grab your
think
gun.
the idea is that this dad is already so disturbed that he's kind of jaded to the actual murder. I think that's the idea.
Gotcha.
It is not very well executed because the acting in this film. We got to talk about it. So we have a central cast. We have I believe there were 6 of them, right? 5 or 6 college students.
6, yeah.
Yeah, the son has grown up to be a college student, and
Mhm.
his dad asks him to make some repairs on their beach house, and so the son invites all of his friends along, and there's a very wonderful scene where the friends just kind of talk about what happened to this guy,
Mhm.
maybe in the most nonchalant terminology I can imagine. Like, whoa, for real? Whoa, that's crazy. He
He
killed his
murdered his
mom?
mom? Dude.
Now, I think all of these characters are really memorable in their own way. I think the guy playing Ed, the main character, he is trying to act. He's trying to give a real performance.
Yeah, I
Uh,
liked him. He was
yeah,
bad, but I liked him.
I don't know what the rest of the actors were doing. I think they were just goofing off, having a
All
good
right,
time.
the redheaded guy I enjoyed. The redheaded guy was probably my favorite character.
Oh, you mean Gary Busey Jr.?
Ralph, I think was his
This is
name.
what I call him, Gary Busey Jr.
I enjoyed Ralph just because he was so stupid and he looked like he wanted to sleep with everybody that was in the beach house.
Mhm.
Including Ed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
including Ed and the murderer.
Yes, yes. So I don't know if you guys know this, but back in the 80s, slasher movies were actually, aside from the murder scenes, pretty wholesome. Like out of context, they could really blend in with, the other teen comedies of that era. Like especially the Friday the 13th movies.
Mhm.
And I think this movie is the perfect example of that. Because outside the murder scenes, this is the most like wholesome, like almost Brady Bunch-esque type
Yeah,
of
it's
tone
very
you can
weird.
imagine,
Like,
right?
there's romantic music while like the couples are just like enjoying their company, and it's like
Mhm.
they're like they're very long scenes where they're just like spending time together. I'm like, okay, like
Yeah, it's kind
what's
of sweet,
happening?
right? Like it at least lets your guard down, which maybe that's what they were going for.
Mm.
Because when the first murder happens, I kind of forgot there was a killer in the movie because we spent, maybe
Sleeping in
50
the basement.
minutes just with these people goofing off.
Took a
But
while. Yeah.
yeah, it took a while, but I'm not complaining because I think the murderer, the villain, is the worst part of the movie. Would you all agree?
The murder the murderer, the father, and his relationship with his son, which is non-existent, that disappointed me entirely.
Yeah, that's one of those moments I was talking about. It is never explained. So what? Have Ed Jr. and his father had like a perfect relationship up until this moment, where he's like, "Hey,
No.
son, come close down
Well,
the beach house," and he's
at
like, "All
least
right, I'm gonna
No.
murder
It's
you."
been tense between them. It's been tense.
they at
I
least
think they
acknowledge
said.
that in the beginning, but like, why wait this long? Where has the son been living? I'm assuming with the father. Why didn't you just kill him
Exactly.
there? Why wait up until this point? Why did it take a night of drinking, which apparently he does a lot, but why did this specific night did he decide, okay, now I'm gonna kill my son? Like,
So there's no exposition behind this. Like, this is a father trying to murder his son. That's a big thing.
Mhm.
That's not just some guy in a hockey mask. So like this movie kind of introduces you to this pretty heavy theme, and like it is the weirdest juxtaposition between that and the actual movie, the rest of the movie. Because like obviously Ed Jr. is not aware that it's his father probably until the last 10 minutes.
not last, like I think three, honestly.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
all he
whenever.
says
Yeah.
is, yeah, all he says is, "Oh, that's my dad."
And then he
It's like,
cries a little. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
man, Dad.
Like, yeah, Holmes, do you have anything more to say about that? You did just murder all of your friends, all of them.
Gosh. Yeah, I don't know. Like I was expecting at least some kind of resolution. Like there is at one point. I'm skipping a lot, but there's one point where they come face to face, which face to face literally you would see that as your father, but whatever. Um, but I thought, oh, okay, they're actually gonna have some kind of dialogue. Maybe they'll actually, I don't know, talk about what happened. Why are you trying to kill me and my friends? No, he just smacks his son. He goes unconscious. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, which reminds me, I said there was one moment later on, which we'll get to, that made me uncomfortable.
Mm.
But probably my favorite kill of the entire movie was at the very end, whenever they think that they've won. Whenever they, do you want to get into spoilers now, Gabe?
Sure, go ahead. Let's
All
do
right.
it. Let's do it.
So, so after the climactic battle between the father and the
Young
convertible
Carrie
rooftop
Fisher.
of a car. Uh, the Ed Jr. and his girlfriend back the father into like a cinder block wall, effectively cutting him in half as
Somehow.
the police show up. So he is half of a man on the ground, and the police walk up to naturally handcuff him. And he pulls out his machete or something,
The
and in
battle axe.
his battle axe, and in one swift motion cuts off the police officer's entire leg.
Yeah, Alec, your dad is a police officer, right? Doesn't
Yeah.
he just hate it when people who only have their upper half just like slaughter you with their machete?
Yeah, something about those people with only their upper half. They are extremely agile and strong.
I don't want to be politically incorrect here, but I think all of those people should be put in jail. I don't trust any of them.
Wow, that's a bold
Wow.
stance.
It's a bold
If there are
statement,
any
and we're recording
halfies, if
this.
there are any halfies listening to this podcast, I apologize on behalf of Gabe.
Oh my God. There's one person.
Just one
Just,
person. I lose a subscriber.
uh,
But let's go back to the characters because I genuinely liked Ed's girlfriend. I thought she was pretty charming. Like not in a competent actor way, more as like a if you've seen enough student films, you've seen this aesthetic. Like the person who does a film for a friend and they're charismatic enough as a person so that kind of like leaks through even though they're not trying. That's what she reminded me of.
I legitimately just for the first maybe like 3 seconds thought she was Carrie Fisher.
Um,
And
let me check
it's
IMDb. I don't think it was.
I don't think it is either. I didn't
I
check,
think it
but
was a Hispanic actress, actually. So
really,
Her
I
name
thought
was
Yeah.
Ruth something, Ruth Martinez.
Ruth
Yeah.
Fisher.
Ruth Martinez, and that is the only movie she has ever been in.
the
Wow.
same goes for most of the cast, shockingly.
Go to Ed. Ed's bound to be in more stuff.
Okay,
No,
but
I
Ralph
swear though,
and everybody-
her.
Oh, he was in
her
Pokemon.
face-
Interesting. What were you saying, Lucio?
Oh yeah, I swear I was like that like it's she looks pretty similar to Carrie Fisher, I'd say. Oh yeah, looking at it right now.
Sure.
You don't agree
but
with me?
but well,
A
see,
little bit.
like the thing that I find interesting about her is obviously she's a virgin because she lives, and that's the only way you live in one of these movies. But there's like a pretty big plot point that Ed doesn't want to wait, but she is like she's not making him wait, but like he has to if they want to be together.
Mm.
And they make such a big deal about it. You imagine there's got to be a resolution for this, right? Like normally in one of these movies, they would finally do it, and then they would get attacked.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's just like this thing that occasionally comes up in very blunt terms. I think at one point she says, "Look, I want to do it, but I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to do it here."
Mm.
It's like okay, okay.
There are so many odd things about this movie. Like that scene in particular, okay, so they're getting ready for bed, and then, he unzips his pants, I'm assuming to get comfortable because they're gonna go to sleep. And then she's like, "No, sir! No, no! I'm not having sex with you." Like,
She said, "Do you know who I am? I'm Carrie Fisher."
like, it's just like, they're getting ready for bed, right? Why would that must have been why he unzipped his pants. No, no, later on they're literally asleep, fully clothed. So I guess he
Well,
was
that's
trying
what
to
you
have
do
sex.
if you're in an abstinent relationship. You can't. I mean, the removal of clothing it only happens if you're about to fornicate. That's. I think that's in the Bible. Somebody
Oh,
fact check this. Is that in the
Well,
Bible?
they say cleanliness is next to godliness and nakedness is next to sinfulness. So,
mm,
you know.
But
yeah,
let's talk
I
about this
saw that.
villain more. Let's talk about that guy because I love him. I love that the villain of this movie is a middle-aged man who walks around in like his Sunday clothes. Is occasionally stabbing young people with his power tools. I love that.
I think he only says one word in the movie, and it's like no as he's being driven into the wall, right?
I think
Probably,
so.
Yeah.
probably. Now, in this era, the icons are Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, and then there's also Ed Sr. He's another icon.
Dad.
Dad. But what do you think the motivation is for having, like, A, he's not given a mask. He's not given any kind of iconography. Like, he's never going to be a Halloween costume. So, why, if you're making a slasher movie, why not do that?
I mean, I can't, I guess I can't tell you for sure, but just based off the rest of the movie, there must have been some kind of lack of talent involved.
I mean,
I don't know.
if I were just guessing, I would say that at the heart of it all, he was trying to make a movie that had some family values. And then I bet you in one draft of the script, his son forgave the dad at the very end. It was just the last two of them, and he was like, "I forgive you, Dad." And
Okay.
he's like, "I love you, son." And then they hugged, and the camera panned off into the sunset.
Alec,
Uh,
I really disagree with you here. I think this movie was the first draft.
Yeah.
you see, Gabe, I would like to agree with you, but this is just such a masterful movie. I doubt they could have gotten it this perfect in one right through. You know?
That's a good point.
Actually, yeah, that's a pretty good point. Sure.
I mean, just look at the production company name. It's OK Productions.
Ooh, ooh.
So, of course, it's going to be perfect.
Now, like, what percentage of the movie is actual murder stuff versus just them messing around, like,
Probably like
in the house?
10% or
Yeah,
less.
I was going to
Yeah.
say 15, but yeah, honestly, it's not it's not a lot.
Which I'm really grateful for because, as we've alluded to, the murder scenes are not well done.
Yeah.
I've actually seen this movie hailed as some kind of like gore masterpiece. I think that's the reason why people still talk about it.
Really?
I
Yes.
can only assume it's based off one really disturbing kill.
Yeah.
What are you thinking of?
Well, Sue, I believe her name is,
Yep.
Ralph's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that. I didn't like watching that.
So basically, Sue, the girlfriend, was kind of like, she was kind of one of the sluttier characters, you know.
Whoa. Okay.
One of.
Dang.
One
Dang.
of.
Dang.
well, Alec
All
just sees a woman and he's like, okay, she's got to be slutty.
Well, naturally. I mean, you know.
Either that or she's a virgin.
Well, based off
that's how
the
the movie-
horror movie trope, she's
That's
a slut
how the
or a
horror
virgin.
movie
Sure.
trope is. If you're not a virgin, you're a slut and you die. So Sue walks down, or she's all dressed up in bed waiting for Ralph. When Ralph goes away and gets killed, she throws on some pants and she's like, I'm gonna see what's going on. She goes downstairs to find Ralph, and she's confronted with the killer, who lifts her up, drops her onto the table, and then uses like a fishing hook, like the big hooks that you use to hook like sharks onto your boat, as an abortion tool up inside of her and through her abdomen.
Yeah, it's pretty mean-spirited.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I'd
It
say
wasn't
so.
super nice.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah,
You
me
just-
neither. And then he like just twisted it around in there for a while.
Yeah. Now, my suspicion is that a producer said, "Hey, you're basically making like Porky's 2. We got to do something here. This is going to be sold as a horror movie." So the director's like, "Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I got a great idea actually." So he just took that fishing hook and just thought of the worst thing he could do with it.
He
Yeah,
went
I think he
fishing in all
succeeded.
the wrong holes.
Yeah. I was just everything else is so like, I guess tame compared to that. I mean, there's a cop who gets like something shoved into his face and then just get his head cut off. I was
Yep.
like, okay, sure,
Yeah, but
whatever.
the other murders are so over the top that there's, just you can't be offended by them. They're like cartoonish.
Yeah. But
But
this
this
one
one
was
was-
so
yeah.
like,
This was
uh-huh.
the
It
one
was
that
cringeworthy.
when I saw it, it caught me off guard, and I was like, "What?"
yeah.
Which normally I'd be like, if a murder can do that to you, if it can really like make you cringe, like that's normally a good thing. But here, it's like you've given me 70% of such a lighthearted movie. I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, it was
Like-
at that point that I realized I wasn't watching Fall Break, and I was in fact watching The Mutilator.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like the title is The Mutilator, but when the mutilating goes down, I got very offended.
hmm Maybe if all of them were as bad, I guess. I don't know, because it's obviously the worst in terms of like graphic content. But
Sure.
like, I mean, what, Ralph gets a rake in his neck, or
Yeah, something like that. Or no, the motorboat engine, right?
I think that was the cop. I don't even remember honestly, but I mean, what the first girl's name? Who I don't remember her name, but she was just drowned.
Yeah.
Or she was choked or whatever.
Yeah, like it could definitely ramped up. Also, I want to mention the cop, right? So he was just kind of there, and he was like blink and you miss it, but he talked on the radio with I guess some other cops, and he said he was investigating something.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only assume that maybe the dad has already been killing people.
Maybe.
Well, no, he's I think he's investigating something because the kids told him, "Oh, when we got to the house, like it had already
Okay.
like somebody had already been there."
Gotcha.
think that's why.
Okay, I misinterpreted that then, but yeah. Oh yeah, and then literally right after he does that to Sue, then he just cuts her head off for good measure.
Yeah,
that's cool
just to be
too.
safe.
Yeah, you don't know
She
if she's
might
dead
she
or
might
not.
come back. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a zombie. God.
Yeah, it's such an awkward movie. Like
Mm.
awkward is just the perfect word for it. And it seems very reluctant to actually be a slasher movie. I think the director was really caught up with his wonderful cast and was like, this is the real movie right here. So let's have a 30-minute section of them playing hide and seek.
No, really, the first couple in the pool is just romantic music, and they're swimming around, being cute for like way too long. It felt like 10 minutes.
Yeah, they swam for a very long time.
Yeah.
No, but
I
it's
mean-
also interesting. Oh, go ahead, Alec.
Oh, I was just gonna say, to me, this movie would have been so much better if they would have just like If they would have added like 4 more kids and they all got killed off in the first half. Like just 4 random kids, and it was like the most gruesome murders you could imagine right off the bat.
Like Suicide Squad.
Yeah, exactly.
What? I don't draw the line between Suicide Squad and that, but all right.
Well,
No, but
like Suicide Squad had like random people in the beginning just to die.
no, it's been a while
Yeah.
since I've seen it.
Well, there
Yeah.
You're
I can
talking about
remember
like
at least.
main characters?
No, they had like whenever they finally got all the main characters together, they like in 5 seconds introduced like 4 other characters. They were like, "This is Captain Rope. He ties knots."
Oh,
Yeah.
you're talking about that
Yeah.
guy? Yeah, okay,
And-
I remember that guy.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
there
well,
just to die.
Actually, there's a movie exactly like what you guys are describing. It's called the Friday the 13th reboot from 2009. Just that's what it is. That's what it is.
Is that the one you like?
Oh, I love all of them, but that's the one I think is probably closest to being a good movie.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Either that or the fourth one, the final chapter. I really like that one.
Okay.
But we're not talking about good
Yeah.
slash movies. We're talking about the Mutilator. Now, let's talk about that house they're staying at. I think that was the director's real beach house. I think this whole movie stemmed from him having a beach house. And it's like, when you're making an indie movie, it's right what you know, right around what you already have.
Mhm.
So the slashing takes place at this beach house and nowhere else. Except, I guess, the front lawn of the house or something like that.
Yeah, the only other location is, I guess, the bar in the beginning.
And the
Uh,
pool.
Yeah, and outside of a dorm, I guess, or a classroom. I don't know
Oh
what
yeah,
that
when they
was.
pick up Ruth
Oh, and there's also a gas station at one
or
point.
Sue.
But the murders, like,
But yeah, the whole movie
There's-
basically is at the house.
after you get to the house, there's no range, there's no versatility to the
Mhm.
locations. And this is a tiny ass house. This is a really normal looking beach house. And they try to make it interesting with the weird decorations the dad has, but it's still just a
Mhm.
beach house.
Mhm.
And it's like the way the movie's structured, like the dad comes out every once in a while. He's hiding in the basement under the floorboards. He comes out every once in a while to kill somebody. And it's like an extended game of hide and seek.
It is
Right?
like a game of hide and seek. Yeah.
And I'm validated by this because later they play hide and seek.
I don't know why he was. Does he sleep down there like all the
Apparently.
time?
No, he's just hiding down there, for his trap.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Well, the thing is, he was just sleeping though. I guess. I mean, I don't know. Well,
Yeah.
there's just so many like weird things like that. Like, weird little logistical things. Like I don't know.
Oh my goodness! I was looking on the IMDb because I was interested in like seeing how much it was made for. The whole thing was shot in 29 days, and the estimated budget is $450,000.
That's no excuse.
That's insane. That must have gone to the camera.
Now, so John Carpenter's Halloween was shot for $300,000. So yeah, just keep that in mind. There's no excuse.
I mean, I will say the camera was good. The
Did
quality.
you think the cinematography was good?
At some points, it was interesting. The lighting was pretty stupid in that dark scene.
Yeah,
Because like they're supposed to be playing hide and seek in the dark, right? And I've noticed
they
that
can
like
all clearly see each other.
yeah, like movies get, I guess, scared of actually putting the camera in darkness, right? So like, oh, they can't see because it's dark for them, but we can see. Like it pulls me out of it immediately, and I see a couple movies, especially horror films, do that,
Mhm.
and this
Yeah.
was no exception. Literally the best, like well lit house in quote unquote the dark ever. I can see everything,
Yeah.
and they're just like stumbling around, like, oh, where are you? Oh,
Let's talk about our favorite moments from this film because I definitely have one. I love this moment when Sue promises Ralph, some action if he goes down to lock the door. It then plays this like really sped up footage of him getting dressed and be like, "I'll be back in a jiffy."
Oh yeah, I forgot. That feels like a fever dream.
Yeah, I mean that's what this movie is. It has stuff like that.
Yeah, it's I don't understand. I guess they were just trying to add some like comedic relief. I mean, Ralph was the comedic relief, quote unquote.
Did you need relief though, comedic relief from
Well,
this movie?
maybe
The
they
rest of the
intended
story
it.
was just so heavy, Gabe.
Maybe
I mean,
they
it is in a way. It just didn't feel like it.
like Ralph was just constantly like, yeah, like just doing shit. And I guess they intended him to be like, comedic. Like I guess they thought the rest of the movie was dark enough, or it was gonna like actually scare people. So like they thought they
Which you
needed
don't
to
want to
add
do with
that.
your horror movie. You do not want to actually scare people.
No,
Duh.
yeah, and they
No,
succeeded.
Hollywood, take
Oh.
notes. Do not scare me when I go
Mhm.
to a horror movie. I will sue you.
My favorite moment. Oh my gosh. I think my favorite moment was the minute I decided to press play.
That's a cheap answer, Lucio. You
I
can't go
don't.
with that.
Okay, let me think. I mean, the only moment that comes to mind is literally the end because it's so stupid. Like the entire end, like right after he gets cut in half, the cops just pull up out of nowhere. I guess I don't know, they heard
Well, they're probably
axe
responding to
slashes.
the original cop's call, right? Because he was like, "I'm here at this house. I'm investigating," and he never followed up after that. So
Yeah, that's a good point. But the thing is, though, you think they'd be more, I guess, on edge. I don't know, cautious. But they see this like man on a car, like yelling, and then like two kids in the car freaking out, and they just drive up and they roll down the window and they're just watching for a bit, and then like they drive him into the wall. He's cut in half, and then it cuts to the cops, and they're just getting out of the car really slowly. They're walking over, and he's just on the floor. And then all the cops do is tell the kids, "Hey, pull forward." And then they do, and the cops walk up to the cut in half dad. Like they just, they're just walking around. They're hanging out. That was my favorite moment.
what about you, Alec?
I think I already said my favorite moment was when the killer cut the cop's leg off after already being chopped in half.
Yes. So the entire climax was shot in a single night.
I believe it.
Yeah, I believe it.
Do you? Do you believe that? Yeah, it's very awkwardly done. I mean, the fighting is just, you can tell it was choreographed in maybe a minute.
He gets stabbed in the heart, and
Yeah.
then he's just fine.
Yeah,
How?
he does a few things that don't really seem like a person could do them.
Yeah.
Well, after Ed Jr. killed his wife, his heart was made of stone. So
That's a good. Yeah, I like that theory actually. I'm
yeah.
gonna roll with it.
All right. We're doing your work for you, Mutilator. We're solving your plot holes for you. You're welcome. I mean, I say all these things about the movie, like making fun of it, but I actually do think it's a really entertaining watch. Like, I would happily watch it again.
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely a fun movie. And it's not like they weren't trying. I
I
can
think
give
it
it that
depends
much.
who. I don't think the screenwriter was trying very hard. I don't think he was trying his hardest,
Yeah, yeah.
let's say.
I did
Here's my
enjoy
question.
Ed.
Here's my question for both of you.
Hmm.
If after I don't know 18 years since you shot your mother and killed her, your deranged father asked you to close his beach house for the winter, would you do it?
Not for
Hmm.
that house. That
Well, it
was, I mean,
depends. I mean, can I bring my 5 other friends?
You have to. It's
Oh, I have
practically a
to?
law.
Okay. And do I get to not have sex?
Only if your girlfriend says that she wants to, but not there.
Gotcha. Okay.
and if she's Carrie Fisher.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, then
Those are the conditions.
yeah, I'm gonna have to put down a yes for that one.
Okay, Gabe.
Well, see, the thing is, for the right beach house, probably. Not that beach house.
Well, I mean, regardless, you don't get to keep the beach house. You're just crashing there for a night.
But it'd still be nice to crash in a good beach house.
It wasn't even
Like
a
a
beach house. It was like a
Prist-
house on the beach.
Sure, sure. No, if I were murdered there, if that were all a ploy there, I would feel pretty underwhelmed by the whole thing. For sure. I will say this is the only slasher movie I can think of on the beach, to take place on the beach. Like, not the woods, not the, not suburbia, not in your nightmares, the beach.
I will say I noticed most of the kills took place in the same area, which was a bit, at least, you have a whole house to yourself, right? You can at least kill someone in the bedroom. But no, I guess he didn't want to get his wife angry by getting fake blood on the sheets.
Well,
So,
I guess you could say that Ed Jr. is carrying on his father's tradition of not killing it in the bedroom.
boom, got him. But like,
Actually, what they don't show you is that the rest of the house was actually an Airbnb rental, and they could only afford to rent the garage for a few days at the time.
Yeah.
So they had to do all the murders at once.
Yeah, this movie invented our Airbnb. I never know how to say that.
Airbnb?
Airbnb. Yeah, this movie invented that. A joke
Arby's,
ruined because I can't remember the name.
But I noticed like everyone, for the most part, walked to the killer. Like the killer maybe took 5 steps in the entire film. Everyone was like, "Let me check the garage," and like I think literally like 4 of the kills was just them walking to him, and then he's like, "Oh shit," and then he just like killed him real quick.
Yeah, there's a really wonderful tradition in slasher movies of these, horny teenagers, drug addicted teenagers, just being fascinated by the most banal locations. In Friday the 13th Part 3, every character is like, "Hey, let's go check out the barn," because that's where Jason's hiding, you see. I cannot remember any time I've said the words, "Let's go check out the barn. Let's go check out the garage." Never. Not once.
Well, you, sir, are missing out.
Only time I've said anything close was, "Let's check out the barnyard," in regards to the movie. Cinematic masterpiece.
Aha.
Be honest, is that movie better or worse than this one?
Yes.
Have you seen Barnyard, Gabe?
Yeah, back when I was a kid.
Are you joking? Otis is like the perfect protagonist.
Yeah, you remember that fat rat who rapped?
Remember how they rode motorcycles?
All I remember is Otis's dad singing that Johnny Cash song. Or I guess
Johnny Cash was Otis's dad.
Yeah.
Oh! I must have missed that part. Okay. I gotta go back and rewatch that. That's a film that probably benefits from multiple viewings.
Oh, I'm sure. But back to this piece of shit. So it reminded me of like a video game, right? Where like your team goes, like one person splits off, goes into the garage, gets downed, and so everyone else is looking for them, so they go to revive them in the garage and they get downed or something. Like it's just like that. It's real. They didn't have to make Ed, I guess his name is, work very hard at all. And it literally,
he's a middle-aged man.
I think 3 of them, he was like asleep, and then they woke him up, and he's like, "Oh God, he's right there, huh?" And like, it's
yeah. I mean, you can't say it's not realistic. I don't think many senior citizens are really up to the task of a Jason Voorhees routine.
Which begs the question again: why the hell did he wait so long to kill him?
Yeah.
Was he was plotting the perfect plan. Like, this is the best idea he could come up with.
I will invite my son to the house. I will fall asleep in this closet. He'll come here. I have the axe. What could go wrong?
And what did go wrong, really? I mean, I like Ralph, but other than that, I mean, come on. It's really all about Ed and Carrie Fisher. What's her name?
Well, not even really about Carrie Fisher. It was more just about Ed Jr.
Yeah, but I mean, they get to survive because they had a pure relationship.
That's true.
They were pure.
What was her name?
There's just one, like, there are a couple of moments in this movie I would call kind of cute or sweet. Like, at one point, Ed and his girlfriend, like, cuddling by the fire. It's just like, that seems nice. It's too bad you're going to see your friends get violently murdered in the next few hours. But this is nice for right now.
It's the sweet serenade accent. Their eternal love. You know.
Their eternal, unconsummated love.
Oh,
Yep.
so I'm looking at the poster right now. The
Sure.
tagline is by sword, by pick, by axe, by bye. I'm just now realizing that the cop was killed by a sword, apparently.
I thought he was killed
Now,
by a wooden plank thing.
yeah, it looked like a piece of a fence.
Maybe it was one of those like LARPing swords that people use.
The wooden one. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Ed
Yeah.
Sr. is a cheap bastard and he couldn't shell out for a real sword. The wooden one would work just as well.
Yeah, so I guess, yeah, okay. Killed by a sword in the face. Then, wait, so where did the sword come from? Because he must have been like dual wielding, like a sword and a battle axe, like he's some kind of like her hero in an RPG. Like,
This is his own RPG. This is
okay.
his vacation. Like that's actually probably what's really going on. He's gonna retire soon, so he wants to relax and just try to kill his son for a few hours.
Yeah.
You know how it goes. We've all been there. Kids, right?
Also, can we bring up the fact that Ralph is a closeted alcoholic? The dude's affinity for beer is troubling in this movie. The first scene we see of him, like it's at a bar. Ed Jr. is drinking a beer. Ralph keeps taking it and just like trying to like steal
Yeah.
sips every now and then. Ed Jr. is clearly like, "What are you doing?" And I have a theory. I have a theory that the actor was just an alcoholic and he couldn't help himself. And the director was just like, "Keep rolling with it. I guess that's his character now. He likes beer a lot. I don't know."
You like buys 2 packs of beer for like a senior citizens discount or something,
Mm-hmm.
like in the scene immediately after.
And when he goes down
Yes.
to lock the doors before getting a little hanky-panky on, he drinks one of the beers that was left out on the counter.
Yeah, nothing like some half-drunk warm beer. It
Yep.
really gets you in the mood. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying,
Amen.
fellas?
Oh yeah, yeah, yep.
That's required.
I want to know where they got that pool from. You know,
Yeah, that pool was cool.
I'd love to know the story behind that.
That was probably just with the property. He probably bought that just with the property. You know, it was already there. That's what I'm guessing.
I mean, perhaps, but then again, I mean, it had all these like concessions and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I
that is
don't
weird.
know. Maybe
Yeah.
that's where all the money went.
They had to buy and build an entire pool arena.
Yeah.
Maybe this whole thing was built on a carnival ground. And they had to tear down the carnival, and they didn't have time to get rid of everything. So, just work this into the scene somehow. Yeah, I do like a lot how these two people are swimming. This couple is swimming. There's a murder right there in the pool. That this woman is choked and drowned.
Mhm.
And I mean, it has to take a little bit, right? Like to just choke someone, it's got to take probably 15, 20 seconds. And this
There's got to be
guy,
at least a little bit of like a splash and struggle.
yeah, and this guy, I don't know. I guess he was testing himself to see how long he could hold his breath because he comes back
Yeah.
up and he doesn't know what happened.
Well, and he can't open his eyes underwater because it might be chlorine.
He does not want to damage those beautiful eyes.
Yep.
I read that actor was like apparently really vain in real life. Like he would not let the makeup people apply makeup to him. He would only trust himself to do that.
Look where that got him.
Look where that got him. This was probably his only movie.
It was. I
Let me.
checked.
Oh, did you?
It's very nice when you get to be right about these things.
He
All right,
doesn't
so-
even have a picture on IMDb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maury.
We
His
have
name's
pictures
Maury.
on IMDb.
Oh boy.
But let's see. Final thoughts here. Final thoughts. I would argue that The Mutilator it's a slasher movie that is at its worst when it's being a slasher movie. I think the rest of it is really charming. I think it's really funny. I would love to watch it in a group setting, kind of midnight screening sort of situation. So I give it a pass. I give it a thumbs up.
If it was like a mystery, right? Like kind of like a crappier Goonies or something, right? Like if it didn't involve any murder and they were just like going about doing stuff, it would actually probably be an enjoyable watch. Like all the murder stuff it definitely is the weakest part.
Yeah. And it's not so bad that it's good. It's just, at best, it's lame. At worst, it's really cringeworthy and mean-spirited. So, and that's unfortunate.
I guess I mean, maybe they realized just how boring the murders were, so they thought they had to spice it up with a little sexual mutilation or whatever.
Yeah, that's how you spice it up.
Yeah.
Ed
Yeah,
Jr.,
true.
take notes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
So, Lucio, what do you give it?
I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10.
Very good. Very good.
Okay, all right.
No, seriously, I'd probably give it maybe a 3.
I think that's a little low. Are you...
Oh,
Are
out
you-
of 3.
Oh, I was just going to ask, are you ranking it just purely on objective factors like how well it was made versus like its entertainment value?
Yeah, no, definitely objective. Like, I personally, like, you know this, I don't go out to watch many of these movies personally because they kind of bore me. I'm not the biggest fan of like 80s slashers, stuff like that. And while I did find the characters kind of enjoyable for the most part, I did kind of get bored at some points just because I knew it was supposed to be a slasher film, but there was no slasher parts. And the slasher parts that were in there sucked. So, you know, that's where my score kind of comes from.
Okay.
And I'm very
you, Alec?
disappointed. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm very disappointed there were no resolution between the dad and the son.
Yeah, that was legitimately disappointing for sure. What about you? Al?
For me, with all the plot holes and the fact that I was confused on what the movie even was called until about 30 minutes in, I will say I enjoyed the main couple, and I enjoyed the redheaded alcoholic guy. Besides them two, I didn't really care for the rest of the characters too much. And I enjoyed what it attempted to do. It just didn't do it successfully.
Didn't do it well.
Yeah.
Alas.
However, for the abortion hook scene in itself, I will give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars.
You guys keep saying. I mean, she wasn't pregnant, was she?
No, it was just the type
just-
of hook.
Yeah. Okay. I was
Well, I
making
mean-
sure.
I don't say abortion hook. I don't think that's what it was used for, right? They just kind of.
No, it was used for fishing, but in that
Yeah.
instance, it would have been.
That's true. That's true. Oh, God.
Well, other question. If there was a Mutilator 2, would you guys watch it?
I mean, if you wanted me to.
Well, I expect you to do everything I ask you to, Lucio, but on your own free will, would you watch it?
I wouldn't have watched this movie at my own free will, so what do you think?
All right, you, Alec?
I just don't feel like there's anywhere else they could go with this story.
Unless he didn't die, the dad, right?
He's just
Somehow.
half a man.
Maybe he has a
going around
robotic
killing people.
lower half. That's
Like
totally
Darth
possible.
Maul or something in the new Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? This probably does take place in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
I think George Lucas actually, did he direct this? He might have directed it.
You might have taken the idea for the father-son fight and expanded on it in Star Wars from this one.
Well, that explains why the Revenge of the Sith definitely feels like an improvement.
Yeah, and this is actually where he first met Carrie Fisher.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh,
It's all coming together.
weird. Yeah, you would have thought he would have met her on Star Wars, which was made like 3 or 4 years before this, but
Nope.
oh,
You would
okay,
be
that is
mistaken,
weird.
my friend.
Huh,
Sadly
it's funny how
mistaken.
movies work.
Didn't even look at her. I totally knew that.
That's
The
cold.
timeline.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me and discussing this very, very bad film.
Mhm.
Been a fun time.
Thank you for having us.
Glad to be here, Gabe.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that all-nighter discussion. What movie should we talk about next? Let us know in the comments. I'm Gabe.
I'm Alec.
I'm Lucio.
And this is all-nighter
All-nighter
Productions.
production podcast.
Disgusting.
I'm not even gonna try to do that right.